Discover how a poor girl's heartwarming plea for a doghouse transformed 1 million lives forever. In the heart of a small, worn-out town, where winter approached with icy fingers and rustling leaves, lived a bright-eyed girl named Emma. She wandered the streets, her loyal dog Max at her side, a scruffy ball of fur with a heart as warm as the summer sun. But as the days grew colder, Emma's joy turned into worry. She dreamed of a simple doghouse where Max could escape the unforgiving winds. Yet, how could a doghouse, a sturdy shelter for her best friend, be possible? Her parents worked tirelessly at multiple jobs, their hands calloused and faces weary, leaving little for dreams of wooden walls and roofs as the crisp air settled in. Emma spotted her neighbors closing up their porches against the encroaching cold. Inside the local diner, the warming smells of pancakes and coffee reminded her of cozy mornings. With a hopeful heart, she started whispering her wish to those around her. If only Max had a doghouse, she murmured, her words weaving through the fabric of the community. They struck a chord. Faces softened, and murmurs of agreement filled the air. It wasn't too long before her determination caught the attention of Pastor Jim, an old soul with a heart for the underdog, both human and canine. "Let us rally together, folks," he bellowed, eyebrows furrowed in passion. The townsfolk came together, united by Emma's simple plea, and soon, her wish for a doghouse transformed into a heartfelt campaign that warmed even the coldest hearts. But then came the wealthy businessman, a titan whose icy gaze measured everything in dollars. A doghouse? He scoffed, coldly dismissing the townsfolk's efforts. "Surely there are better uses for our time and money." His words landed like stones among the hopeful crowd, awakening a storm of uncomfortable truths. Emma felt deflated but didn't falter. There was fire in her spirit. "Together, we can show him," she breathed, rallying her friends to fight for their cause, not just for Max, but to expose hidden dreams buried under the weight of disdain. As the town meetings unfolded, emotions ran high. Old feuds surfaced, casting dark shadows over the vibrant unity they had worked so hard to build. Yet, as Emma stood in front of the foldaway chairs filled with friends, a simple smile emerged, promising that their little town could be a beacon of compassion amidst the icy chill of economic disparity. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As dust settled in the post-meeting silence, Emma listened to whispered wishes cloaked in vulnerability. Little did they know, their struggles mirrored each other, all waiting for someone to lift the veils of fear. With the first snowfall blanket coating the town, Emma felt the weight of their divided hearts heavy upon her. The dream of a simple doghouse had transformed into a profound desire, a yearning for change that extended far beyond her own wish. Could love truly conquer the divides in their small town? As Emma held on to hope, the ticking clock of time felt charged with an electric promise. But with betrayal lurking in unexpected places, would this journey to prove their strength cast shadows or let light into their lives? That Emma did not know yet. The air grew colder, each breath becoming a visible cloud floating up into the early winter sky. Emma walked down the streets lined with barren trees, rubbing her hands together. Max trotted beside her, sensing her unease. He looked up, those big, trusting eyes filled with unconditional love, a reminder of why she needed to keep fighting. Days passed, and Emma found herself more immersed in the community's struggle. What seemed like a small plea for a doghouse had evolved into something monumental, a chance to heal wounds that ran deep within her neighbors. Emma organized discussions at the diner, where secrets and stories poured into the air, mingling with the scent of brewing coffee and warm pastries. Each conversation revealed how they were all connected, struggling against the same relentless chill of uncertain futures. One evening, as Emma stood before her friends, her voice faltered for a moment. Shadows flickered across their faces in the diner's dim light. "We can't let Mr. Hayward's words defeat us," This isn't just about Max, it's about all of us. The words ignited something within the crowd, and murmurs of agreement rose like steam from coffee cups. Laughter mixed with tears, memories turned into motivation, and the diner buzzed with a renewed energy. But amidst the growing unity, doubt hovered over Emma. The businessman, Mr. Hayward, the embodiment of their town's struggles, loomed larger than life. She could feel his cold dismissal piercing through her hope, and she couldn't shake the fear that his wealth could snuff out their newfound camaraderie. What if they were just being naive? What if their dreams amounted to nothing in the eyes of someone with power? One evening, the warmth of friendship faded as Emma overheard snippets of a heated conversation between her neighbors. "We're fighting against Goliath," one man spat, fist pounding the table. "What chance do we have?" The air was thick with skepticism. The earlier confidence was eroding, and Emma's heart sank at the thought of losing her fragile gains. Yet, she remembered Max's wagging tail and the way he chased the falling leaves outside. What if we told our stories? She proposed to her friends the next day, her resolve firm. If we share how important Max is to all of us, how our lives are intertwined, maybe we can change hearts. He represents something bigger than a doghouse, he symbolizes hope. The room was silent as they considered her words. Emma felt the weight of hesitation, and an inner flame sparked. Each one of them had a story, a reason to fight. They began to share anecdotes around the diner. The lonely widower who found love in a stray cat, the single mother who found support through an animal shelter, and the young girl who had once felt invisible until a puppy had changed her life. With each story, the power of connection radiated, warmth returning to the troubled hearts. Emma proposed a large gathering in the town square, a rally to celebrate their companionship, their struggles, and their hopes. "It's bigger than just a doghouse. It's about community," she exclaimed. But was everyone truly ready? Would the rally expose deep-seated fears, or would it cement the town's resolve? As Emma looked around at her friends, brimming with uncertainty, yet ignited by hope, she wondered if this was the spark that would change everything. The day of the rally approached. Emma's heart raced with excitement and dread. Could they really transform the spirit of their small town? Or would they face the icy grip of loss once again? With Max beside her, she took a deep breath, preparing to step into the unknown. What came next would test everything they had built. The sun rose the morning of the rally, casting a soft golden light over the town square. Emma stood outside her small home, the crisp air filling her lungs, as she watched the sky change from gray to vibrant hues of pink and orange. Max was prancing around her feet, his excitement contagious. Today was the day they would share their stories, the day they would fight for their community's spirit. Emma dressed quickly, pulling on her warmest jacket and a woolen scarf. She felt nervous, the fluttering in her stomach a mix of anticipation and fear. Would people show up? Would they feel the weight of her words? She closed her eyes for a moment, visualizing the faces of her friends as they conjured their stories. Their hearts on display like autumn leaves to the town square. A flurry of activity greeted her. Tables were set up, decorated with posters of Max and bright banners that read "Together We Stand." Local musicians tuned their instruments while a handful of kids laughed and chased each other beneath a grand oak. Emma felt a rush of hope surge through her. This was bigger than her fears. This was about everyone. As folks began to gather, Emma watched their hesitant smiles transform into determined grins. They shared curious glances, whispering about what was to come. Slowly, the gathering grew. Waving hands and encouraging whispers united them all. Emma felt her pulse quicken with each familiar face that arrived. The town was coming together, despite the looming presence of Mr. Hayward. "All right, folks," she called out, her voice echoing through the crisp air. The chatter hushed, eyes turning to her. "Thank you for being here today. I know our town has faced challenges, but this isn't just about us. It's about the love we share, about standing up for what matters." Her heart raced at her own words. She could feel the weight of their hopes wrapped around her. Neighbors began to step forward, sharing their stories one by one. The young mother spoke of how she found her way from despair to hope, thanks to a stray dog. The elderly man's voice cracked as he recalled the long nights he spent alone until his cat found him on his porch. Emma listened, tears brimming in her eyes as the shared pain knitted a tapestry of resilience. The warm sun shone down, almost as if it were a spotlight celebrating their courage. Each story stirred deep emotions in the crowd. Laughter and tears danced together, and Emma could see the walls of doubt crumble. They were a community, not just individuals facing their battles alone. They were together. But then, just as the atmosphere reached its peak, a voice sliced through the air, sharp and icy. "What are you all doing here?" It was Mr. Hayward himself, his presence stark against the joyful scene. He stood at the edge of the square, arms crossed and an intimidating frown etched on his face. Emma's heart sank. She could hear the murmurs of concern ripple through the crowd. What would he say? Would he crush their fragile hope? The vibrant warmth suddenly felt heavy, the laughter fading. It was as if a storm cloud had moved in, casting a shadow over their moment. Emma stepped forward, determination flooding her veins. "We're here to share our stories, our dreams. We're not afraid." She voice trembled but rang out loud and clear, piercing the tension. She felt the crowd shift, the collective breath of her neighbors behind her, ready to fight for what they believed. But what would it take to convince Mr. Hayward? She could feel the weight of their expectations, the rising stakes. Turning back to the crowd, she met their hopeful gazes. Would she let fear hold her back, or would she trust in the power of their unity? As she faced the businessman, uncertainty swirled in her mind. How far would this fearless moment take them? The answer felt just beyond her grasp. Emma took a deep breath, preparing herself for the battle ahead. Would this rally be the turning point they needed, or would they have to confront an even bigger challenge? The square fell silent as Mr. Hayward stepped forward, his expression unreadable. Emma could feel the weight of the crowd's anticipation, 1,000 hearts beating in unison. Was he going to snuff out their moment of joy? "Your stories are commendable," he began, his voice loud and authoritative, slicing through the air. "But they won't change the realities we face. This rally is a distraction from the issues that truly matter." He looked at Emma, his gaze cold and calculating. "You're wasting your time. You think you can just wish your problems away with stories?" Emma's stomach twisted. His words were like ice water thrown over a blazing fire. She glanced around. The crowd's smiles faltered, uncertainty dancing in their eyes. But she couldn't let that erode the foundation they built together. Each story shared was a brick in the wall of their unity, a testament to their strength. "This isn't just about wishing," she replied, her voice steadier now, fueled by resolve. "These stories represent our struggles, our victories, and our desire for change. We may be small, but together, we are powerful." She raised her chin, the warmth of her convictions rekindling hope in her heart. Mr. Hayward's eyes narrowed, as if assessing her challenge. Powerful? Maybe, but powerless against the real world. He flicked his wrist dismissively. "I've got plans for this town that don't include sentimental gatherings." "Then you don't understand what this town is," Emma retorted. "It's not just about plans or profits. It's about the people who live here, the connections we've built, the love we've shown each other. That matters more than anything." A ripple of agreement surged through the crowd. Whispers started to circulate, rekindling the hope that had dimmed. They were still here. They were listening. Emma felt the warmth of their support wrap around her like a familiar blanket. Max, sensing the tension, barked softly, his little tail wagging as he wandered closer to Emma. She knelt down to scratch behind his ears, finding comfort in his canine spirit. Perhaps that's what she needed to do connect. "Mr. Hayward," she continued, her voice rising, "if you listen to these stories instead of dismissing them, you'd see the reality we all face every day. Each of us has our struggles. Each of us shows up to fight for what we love." The crowd erupted into applause, the sound growing louder, drowning out Mr. Hayward's scowl. Emma looked into the faces before her, inspired by their fierce determination. They weren't just individuals. They were a force of nature, ready to storm the gates of indifference. But just as they seemed to gain momentum, Mr. Hayward squared his shoulders, leaning into the crowd. What happens when your voices can't drown out the truth? His words fell heavy like stones, but Emma sensed something else beneath them. Defiance? Fear? Maybe he, too, was unsettled by the strength of their togetherness. Emma took a deep breath, determination flowing through her veins. You think we'll be quiet? You misunderstand us. We're just beginning to speak up, and we one stop. The gathering swelled with energy. Over the swell of voices and passion, Emma felt the tide turning in their favor, yet the dread of uncertainty clung to her. As she faced Mr. Hayward, ready to dive deeper into this fight for their future, she wondered what decision he would make next. Would he continue to resist or join their cause? Emma's heart surged with hope, but the fear of the unknown loomed ever closer. Just then, a cry rang out from the back of the crowd. What if we put our stories into action? Emily's heart raced. This was it, the spark to ignite the flame. What transformative step could they take to turn their stories into change? Emma glanced back at the crowd, excitement tingling in her fingertips. Could they truly harness this momentum into something greater? What actions lay ahead that could change everything? As the crowd buzzed with possibilities, Emma knew they were on the edge of something monumental. Would this moment take them further than they ever dreamed? The moment hung in the air, pregnant with possibilities. Emma felt a thrill run through the crowd, a current of hope weaving into the fabric of their collective consciousness. She needed to channel that energy into something tangible. What if we started a community project? She suggested, her voice rising above the murmur. We could create a space for every story to be heard. A place where people can come together, share, and support one another. The crowd erupted in chatter, excitement crackling like static in the air. Eyes lit up as they bounced ideas off one another, each suggestion building on the last. Emma could feel the pulse of a shared dream igniting. Could they really bring their stories to life? Let us build a community center, shouted a young man from the middle of the throng, his face flushed with enthusiasm. A garden where we can plant seeds of hope. An elderly woman chimed in, her voice strong, despite the years. A flurry of voices erupted, each new idea sparking more energy. Emma's heart raced. This was it. These were the echoes of unity she had hoped to see. Emma, one of her closest friends, Maya, called out, pushing her way to the front. What about the children? We could create a program where kids share their dreams and turn them into action. Yes, Emma exclaimed, her passion surging, feeling like a wildfire. Imagine the stories they could tell and the change we could inspire. Mr. Hayward stood off to the side, his expression shifting from skepticism to curiosity. For the first time, his facade cracked just a bit. Perhaps he didn't understand the power of community spirit. Emma locked eyes with him, sensing the challenge ahead. If they could show him the potential of their dreams, maybe he would see their value as more than just sentimental fluff. As the crowd buzzed with excitement, people began to step forward one by one, sharing their own stories. Johnson, the local mechanic, spoke of how he repaired the broken-down cars of those who couldn't afford it, sharing tales of resilience and kindness. Linda, a single mother, chimed in about her struggles, but also her determination to create a better future for her children. Each story wove into the next, creating a rich tapestry of hopes and dreams. Emma felt tears prick her eyes as she realized what they were creating together. It was more than just a rally. It was a movement. Their voices had power when united. Then, without warning, Max barked again, drawing everyone's attention. Emma had almost forgotten he was there, but his playful spirit reminded her of the simplicity of community and the joy derived from connection. What if we even expand it further? Emma said, raising her hands to calm the crowd. What if we included everyone? Those who have been pushed aside and forced to silence? Let us build a community that doesn't just talk but acts. One where no voice is unheard. The crowd erupted into thunderous applause, the vibrations echoing through the square. Emma knew that the more inclusive they became, the stronger their movement would be. But just as hope surged, a familiar figure stepped forward. Francesca, a former friend who had distanced herself in recent years. Her eyes were darkened with a storm of emotions. And what if someone tries to tear it down? She questioned, her voice edged with bitterness. Emma's heart sank. Would this beauty they were building be fragile in the face of resistance? How could she convince those like Francesca that this could change everything? As Francesca stood there, a living embodiment of doubt, Emma desperately searched for the right words. The future of their movement felt balanced on the blade of a knife. Could they truly overcome the challenges ahead? Emma's pulse raced as anticipation filled the air, rendering the path before her uncertain yet full of promise. What would she say to reach Francesca? And would their newfound strength be enough to face the storm brewing just beyond the horizon? Emma felt the weight of Francesca's question lingering in the air, thick and heavy. The excitement of the crowd, the electric energy that had surged just moments before, now felt precariously balanced on a knife's edge. How could she convince Francesca, and the others who shared her skepticism, that their dreams could be more than just dreams? Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward, her voice steady despite the turbulence inside her. Francesca, I understand your concern. It's easier to criticize than to believe. I senti it, but what if we faced that fear together? What if we pooled our doubts into something powerful? The crowd was silent, hanging on her words as she searched for a way to reach Francesca. Every great change began with someone daring to dream. This is our chance. We can build something beautiful, something that holds us all together. Francesca's brow furrowed, a flicker of doubt battling the storm in her eyes. But what if it fails? What if this is just another pipe dream? Emma paused, her heart pounding. What if it doesn't? What if stepping forward brings us closer to each other? We have real stories here, real struggles. It's our determination that counts. It's about trying, failing, and trying again. From the back, someone yelled, "We can do this!" Slowly, murmurs cascaded through the crowd, building momentum. They were listening, wrestling with their feelings. Francesca held Emma's gaze, searching for flashes of honesty in her friend's plea. Emma could see the faintest hint of longing beneath the hardened facade, a desire to hope against the odds. Think about how you felt when you were part of the group, Francesca. We laughed, we shared, and we mattered. What if we could give that feeling back to others? The elderly woman who had suggested the garden stepped forward again. I've seen too many people bear their burdens alone, afraid to reach out. We can change that. Francesca's features softened, an internal battle playing out across her face. But building a community means exposing ourselves. What if it hurts? Emma stepped closer, lowering her voice just a touch. It might hurt, but every time it's worth it to reach out, we can heal. Together, we can make a force no one can tear down. Another voice chimed in, a younger girl who had been silent until now. If someone tries to tear it down, we'll build it back. Together, every one of us. Emma felt the tide shift, hearts opening as hope twined through the crowd like roots spreading under fertile soil. There was power in their unity. Francesca's resolve softened further. You really believe we can be stronger together? I do, Emma said, feeling a swell of confidence. I believe every single story matters. Our fears can become our strengths if we let them lead us. Tears glimmered in Francesca's eyes, brushing the walls she had built with vulnerability. Okay, Emma, I'll try. Just don't let me down. A surge of cheers erupted from the crowd, echoed by Max's joyful bark, as if sensing a new chapter was dawning. Emma's heart soared, the momentum swelling like a wave ready to crash upon the shore. In that moment, she realized this wasn't just about a building or a project. It was about rekindling faith not just in their community, but in each other. But as the unity strengthened, another thought tugged at Emma's heart. What if someone from the outside tried to destroy what they built? Could they be prepared for an obstacle they hadn't yet seen? With pulses racing and hope surging, Emma knew the road ahead would be fraught with challenges. As hugs and plans filled the square, she kept her gaze fixed on Francesca and the others, feeling the undercurrents shift. Something was brewing, and it wasn't just the community rising. It was something deeper, something that might shake the very foundations of their resolve. Would they be able to fend off the storm before it struck? Emma could sense the magnetic pull of uncertainty lingering just outside. The moment hung there, a question hanging in the air, as the crowd reveled in newfound hope what challenges lay ahead that could threaten to tear them apart. The sun had begun its descent, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, as Emma took a moment to breathe. She glanced around, her heart still fluttering from the passion displayed in the square. It felt, for the first time in a long while, as if they were all standing on the brink of something great. Yet, like a quiet shadow creeping up from behind, a sense of unease lingered at the edges of her mind. Are we really ready for this? A voice murmured, pulling her back from her thoughts. It was Raoul, one of the younger members of the group, his face taut with worry. Emma turned to him, the warmth of his concern echoing within her. We can be, but it's going to take work. Hard work. Francesca, now seeming more a part of the crowd than a skeptical outsider, chimed in. But where do we start? Can't just be words. We need actions. Emma felt a familiar spark ignite within her. Right? We need to plan. Her mind raced, and she imagined a garden filled with laughter, creativity, and connection. Let us break down what we want this community to look like. Really look like. As conversations buzzed and laughter rippled through the air, she floated ideas to the group. What if we host weekly gatherings? Potlucks? Game nights? Workshops to share our talents? Create a space where everyone feels embraced. Raoul's eyes sparkled as he added, and a place for the kids to play. I can help design that park area. Francesca nodded, her brow unfurrowing. We could have a storytelling circle. Share our fears and dreams just like we did today. One by one, ideas blossomed like wildflowers in spring. They talked about reaching out to local businesses for support, reaching farther into the community, and even holding a kickoff event that would show their commitment. Laughter punctuated plans, weaving a tapestry of determination. But amid the laughter, a harsh voice cut through. Have you all lost your minds? The figure had stepped forward. It was Greg, a man who had previously stormed out at the thought of change. You think you can just band together and make magic happen? Look at you, it's pathetic. Emma felt the air thicken. A chill ran through the group, silencing their hopeful chatter. Eyes fell to the ground, an undercurrent of doubt creeping back. No, Emma declared, stepping toward Greg. You're wrong. It's not pathetic to hope. What's pathetic is hiding from our fears. We're stronger than you think. She fought to keep her voice steady, even as her heart raced. The crowd drew closer, the weight of Greg's negativity heavy in the air. Join us, then, she challenged. Instead of tearing us down, why not build with us? We need everyone. But all Greg did was shake his head, bitterness dripping from his words. You think this will change anything? You're dreaming. The hope that had surged felt fragile now, as if those dreams hung by a thread. Emma's heart sank, a mix of anger and hurt welling up within her. Was that what lay waiting for them outside, a skeptic determined to breach their newfound unity? Francesca placed a reassuring hand on Emma's shoulder. Emma, remember why we're here. It's about connection, not division. We can't control Greg, but we can control how we respond. Yeah, and maybe he just needs to see. A voice from the crowd piped up. Emma took a deep breath. Exactly. We will show him, and if he tries to pull us apart, we'll remind each other why we began. Together, a renewed sense of purpose began to blossom among them, weaving through their shared silence like the first rays of morning light. Yet still, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that Greg was only a symptom of something bigger lurking beyond the horizon. How do we face the challenges that may break us? She wondered, her heart racing. As the sun dipped low, shadows danced across the square, reminding Emma that dark times often came with light. She could feel the weight of what lay ahead pressing down upon them, even as they began to rise, united and ready to build. But for every new dream they forged together, would there always be one willing to tear it apart? The air was thick with uncertainty as Emma turned back to the gathering. She scanned the faces of her friends, some alight with hope, others still shadowed by doubt. Raoul looked determined, his youthful energy sparking another wave of enthusiasm. "Let us not let Greg get to us," he said, his voice vibrant amidst the tension. "We can turn this around. We can show him what we're made of." "Exactly," Francesca added, her eyes gleaming. "Let us start with the kickoff event. If we open up our space and invite everyone in, it'll be hard for him to stay on the sidelines." The group shifted, murmurs of agreement rippling through. Emma felt a flicker of courage rise again. It reminded her of the way her grandmother used to light her favorite lantern just before twilight. "Okay, let us lay out a plan and get things moving. We need to find a date and location, and who's bringing the food?" Someone called from the back, and laughter erupted, breaking some of the tension. Emma joined in, grateful for the comic relief. "Potluck it is," she declared, excitement flooding back in. "Let us get a sign-up sheet and make sure we get a little bit of everything." As they started detailing their plans more, voices began blending together in a symphony of ideas. Each suggestion felt like another stone laid in the foundation of a solid wall against the storm that was Greg. As the group energy surged, so did Emma's imagination. She envisioned every colorful table at the kickoff, adorned with dishes from families around the community, the laughter of children punctuating the air, the stories of their lives swirling together. But just as quickly, the vision was clouded by doubt. What if they tried and failed? What if Greg was right? "Emma?" Francesca's voice broke through her thoughts again. "You okay?" "Yeah, just thinking." Emma chuckled, though her heart was still taut. "What if it doesn't work?" Francesca stepped a bit closer, her expression warm but serious. "What if it does? You can't let fear control you. You've already shown strength by reaching out. Just imagine what happens when others feel that strength too." Encouraged, Emma nodded. They were all in this together. The idea of community resonated deeply inside her. "You know what? You're right. Let us do this. For us, and for everyone who needs to feel like they belong." Inspired by those words, Raoul's enthusiasm soared. "I'll help organize the kids' area. We could have games, face painting, maybe even a mini obstacle course." Francesca smiled. "I can gather some stories for the storytelling circle. Everyone has a voice. We just have to create the space for them to share it." The dynamic in the square shifted again, palpable positivity bouncing back and forth between them. Yet, in the midst of laughter and excitement, Emma felt that unease again. What if the excitement didn't last? What if they faced pushback from Greg and others? "We have to be prepared, too," she reminded them, weaving her thoughts into the fabric of their plans. "Let us put together a team to ensure everything runs smoothly. And maybe hold a little prep rally to build our confidence before the big day." "Exactly," Francesca replied, the fire reigniting in her spirit. "Let us show them we're serious. We're not giving up without a fight." Emma couldn't suppress a smile. Even the shadows seemed to lift a little. The warmth of connection wrapped around her, a cloak against the chill of doubt. As night fell and stars began to twinkle overhead, laughter mingled with the distant sounds of the town winding down for the evening. Emma took in the joy surrounding her, a powerful reminder of why they began this journey. But just then, a sudden chill swept through the square, a reminder that the struggle was far from over. Emma's heart raced. What if Greg wasn't the only skeptic in their community? What if there was a deeper division lurking, waiting to be exposed? "Are we ready for what's next?" she whispered, even as the warmth around her tried to answer. The real question loomed. How would they confront the shadows that were still waiting to test their strength? Emma woke the next morning. The sunlight streaming through her window felt bright but oddly heavy. She couldn't shake the nagging worry in the back of her mind. Today mattered. The kickoff event was drawing closer, and with it, not just excitement, but the unshakable promise of potential backlash. She quickly shook off the thoughts and started her day, determined to channel that energy into something productive. After breakfast, she grabbed her notepad and headed to the park, where they planned to hold the event. The air was crisp, and the scent of dew-covered grass filled her lungs. She took a deep breath, trying to capture that moment of peace, but images of Greg's scowling face crept back in. As she strolled through the park, She spotted Raul and Francesca already there with a few others, eagerly discussing logistics. They were painting signs and marking out spaces for the activities. Emma felt her heart swell with pride at their commitment. "Hey, Emma!" Francesca waved, her smile brightening her face. "We've made some great progress. Look at this." They had a huge banner in bright colors. "Open hearts, open minds." Emma's heart fluttered at the idea that this was the message they wanted to share with the community. Felt right. But just as quickly as the warmth surged, a shadow flickered behind her eyelids. What if their hearts weren't enough? Raul's voice interrupted her thoughts. "Emma, come help us brainstorm some fun games for the kids. We want to make this a day to remember." She smiled and walked over, falling into the rhythm of their excitement. They tossed around ideas: sack races, tug-of-war, a scavenger hunt. Each suggestion brought laughter and camaraderie that wrapped around her like a comforting shawl. But the doubt still brewed inside, like a slow storm. "Okay, everyone," Emma said, gathering their attention. "Let us divide and conquer. We all want this to be perfect, right?" Nods all around confirmed that. "After this, can we spare some time to discuss any potential challenges? It doesn't hurt to prepare for pushback. We need to be a united front." Raul furrowed his brow and spoke up. "But shouldn't we focus on the positive and not on what might go wrong?" Emma nodded, feeling the weight of leadership tugging at her heartstrings. "Absolutely. But being prepared could be our shield against cynicism. I know we can spread joy, but we should be ready for anything." Francesca, sensing the balance Emma was trying to maintain, chimed in, "Planning a positive response can still be hopeful. If we know our message and reasons, we can reinforce how much this community means to us." With their spirits lifting, Emma felt momentarily free, until an unexpected sound shattered the bubble. A shouting voice in the background grew closer. "What's going on over there?" Greg and a group of disgruntled townsfolk were marching toward them. Emma's heart plummeted. The energy shifted, and the laughter died. The earlier warmth morphed into a chill more biting than the morning air. "Are you people really planning to waste resources on this ridiculous event?" Greg's tone was sharp, cutting through the tentative peace. Emma's stomach twisted as she processed the confrontation brewing. "What are you so afraid of? People coming together?" Emma stepped forward, her voice trembling yet firm. Greg smirked, as if feeding off her hesitance. "This so-called community spirit isn't what I'm worried about. There are deeper issues at play, and you're only pushing us apart." Emma's mouth dried, every eye now on her. She had to be strong. Could she turn this battle into a bridge instead? "Greg," she began, heart racing, "this is about giving us all a chance to connect, and showing that we care. We're all part of this community, and everyone deserves a voice." But was it enough? The tension in the park crackled like static in the air. Emma glanced back at her friends, who looked just as uncertain but ready for her lead. They were on the brink of something big, but how could they turn the confrontation into a moment of unity? Other pairs of eyes in the community were watching too, potential allies or more skeptics in disguise. Would this be the moment that defined them? Would they rise together or fracture under the weight of fear? And what would it take to turn the tide in their favor? Emma inhaled deeply, her thoughts racing. This moment was crucial. If they were to succeed, they needed to turn Greg's hostility into dialogue, to find a way to emerge stronger. "Greg, I understand your concerns, but shutting us down without listening doesn't solve anything," she said, trying to maintain calm. "We're not here to divide. We're here to build a community that supports everyone," she continued. The others exchanged uncertain glances, their resolve wavering a little at Greg's intimidating presence. There it was, the flicker of fear, but they had come too far to back down now. "Building a community doesn't mean pretending challenges don't exist," Francesca added, stepping forward beside Emma. "We can face those challenges together. We'd love to include you in our discussions and hear your perspective." The offer hung in the air, a bridge extending across the growing divide. Greg's expression shifted slightly, less malignant, but still skeptical. What real change can come from a bunch of stories? This isn't a fairy tale. You think just holding hands and singing songs will fix our town's problems? Emma felt the knot in her chest tighten. This is not about fairy tales, Greg. This is about understanding each other, recognizing our shared struggles. If we can begin these conversations, we can find solutions together. Around them, the other townsfolk were listening, eyes wide. Emma could feel their eagerness, waiting for the outcome. Would they rally behind her? Could they turn the tide? Greg folded his arms across his chest. Words only go so far. What are you planning to do that matters? Emma swallowed her nerves. We're planning workshops to create awareness, provide support services, and foster connections. We want this to be a safe space. That's where real change begins. Or more useless chatter, Greg scoffed. But there was a hint of frustration brewing beneath his bravado. Emma took it as a sign not just of resistance, but of hesitation. Or perhaps, she said slowly, we can allow our stories to empower us. Let us work together to tackle real issues. What if we formed a committee that included you? You could lead discussions on the concerns you have for our future. Gasps of shock rippled through the crowd. This was bold, perhaps naive, but Emma felt alive with the possibility. We want to welcome all perspectives, even the hard ones. The crowd stirred, and she could read the glances shared among her friends and neighbors. It was as if they were collectively holding their breath, waiting for Greg's response. Finally, he shrugged, the slightest hint of vulnerability in his posture. I'll give you this, you're brave, but prove me wrong. Emma's heart raced. He hadn't fully accepted, but he hadn't outright rejected them either. That's all we can ask for, an opportunity to show what we can do together. With that, she felt a surge of hope ignite within the crowd. The energy twisted around them, and Emma could see the spark of determination lighting up faces. One by one, voices began to rise, echoing Emma's message. Thank you for being willing to listen. Let us work together. Count me in. Greg's scowl faded as he looked around at the evolving scene. Let us change this narrative, together, Emma asserted, the words rushing from her as their power took root. We'll show you what community truly means. A cheerful voice rang out from the back, igniting a chorus of cheers and applause. As Emma glanced over at Francesca and Raoul, their expressions mirrored her own belief in their collective strength. They were moving toward something bigger than just a doghouse or a rally. They were guiding their town toward transformation, opening avenues of understanding and education. But the road ahead wasn't without potential pitfalls. Emma felt the weight of responsibility grow heavier. Could they navigate resistance properly? Each cheer felt reassuring and daunting at once. In the following weeks, community meetings surged with newfound momentum. People rallied together to discuss their experiences, budget cuts, personal hardships, hopes for a better future. The air buzzed with stories, weaving a collective thread stronger than before, fueled by laughter, tears, and the endless pursuit of empathy. Emma watched friendships blossom among people who had shared stories yet never truly connected prior. It was beautiful and heart-warming as the kickoff event approached. Optimism enveloped the town. The community center became a reality, a culmination of shared dreams, a testament to their unity. And when the day finally arrived, the sun shone bright. The square had transformed into a vibrant festival where love and laughter filled the air. Children played, stories were shared, and a profound connection had woven through the once skeptical town, connecting hearts once thought too far apart. As Emma stood there, surrounded by her friends, Max darting around with pure joy, she felt a warmth radiate through her, a realization of what community truly meant. It was about lifting each other, creating spaces for healing, and fostering resilience. The shadows of doubt lingered at the edges, but Emma knew something had shifted, something powerful enough to withstand the winds of adversity. And as she looked out into the crowd, a wave of gratitude surged through her. They had transformed not just Max's story, but the town's narrative as a whole. Everyone was finally heard. Everyone mattered. And as they embraced their journey forward, Emma felt confident that they would continue rising together, fueled by each other's love, compassion, and the unwavering belief that change was not only possible, but beautifully within their grasp. Today was only the beginning of their amazing transformation, one that had the potential to remind countless others about the heart of what it meant to be a community. As they united, embracing hope, Emma smiled. This journey was far from over. There would always be challenges ahead. But as long as they held onto their connections, shared their stories, and cared for one another, they would stand strong together. If you want to join this emotional journey, subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread this message of connection. Comment your feelings about this inspiring ending. Your voice matters. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.